Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Oh, damn it.
We just said earlier that we were gonna stop drinking, but I have one White Claw left.
That's okay.
I can't
stuff tonight.
What's that? Did you really?
Yeah, I have no self-control. No,
Me neither.
I've told you this before. It actually feels good to talk about it because it makes me feel more accountable for it. But I've told you this before. My brain equates eating shitty food with drinking. So if I'm not on my diet, it's almost impossible for me not to go pick up something to drink.
Yeah.
Because my brain's just like, well, who cares? We're dumping everything into this fucking garbage fire, right? So I had like the way I set up like my meal prep, we got this whatever, it doesn't matter. I ended up prepping my lunches for the week tonight.
Yeah.
So like my dinner tonight, we were like, well, we'll just pick up like McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I guess that means I'm going to go get some claws.
Yeah. Well, they're delicious. And it's really like, there's just something so nice about sitting at your computer and having a couple beers. It's really just the greatest, most comfy feeling in the world.
It is the best feeling.
But like, I went months without drinking. Not for any, like, I just feel like shit all the time and I'm tired of feeling like shit all the time. So I kind of just went like, I'm done. And I stopped, like, very occasionally over like a 9-month period, I would have like a glass of wine or something. And then like 2 weeks ago, I was just like, maybe like 3 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some fucking White Claws. Fuck it. I deserve one night of this, right?
Fuck it.
And now I've been drinking like 4 nights a week since then. So it's got to stop.
That's all right. Tonight's the last night. You or I will have alcohol for at least the rest of the week, and we'll take it. See, here, that's the thing. I like to make smaller goals because it's just like dieting for me. It's like, I'm not going to have anything to drink tomorrow night. We'll just go at night. And then don't have it for a night, and I'm like, oh, right, I don't need it. Like, it's stupid. And then I'm usually okay. Anyway, welcome to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Alcoholics Not Anonymous, because you guys know us.
I have to start off the episode in a very weird fashion tonight.
Please do.
It's something we never do.
Right.
Besides that episode of Tenet where we talked about the movie first because we thought we were funny in retrospect, kind of goofball, but it was a good movie to talk about. And formally apologize to you, and really myself.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Forcing us to watch Studio 666. Furthermore, I would like to grossly apologize for even thinking that movie was worthy of the clever joke of being part of the title for last week's episode.
I'm glad we fucked that up.
Yeah, I am too. This movie was horrible. It was like watching a grad student's film who wants to be a director. So all of his shitty friends who can't act are in the movie. So the movie like is shot semi-professionally, but no one can act. And it's like watching cardboard talk to paint and hoping one of them says something interesting.
It's like embarrassing, and it's like, all right, it's not, they're all charming guys. Like, we know that they're good dudes. And like the one thing I'll say is this, starting it off, I had all these like Taylor Hawkins jokes because obviously he's died since the movie came out. And it turns out he was really, out of all of them, the only one who had like any even sort of remote ability to like act or have comedic timing.
Yeah, good for you.
And so ultimately I kind of felt bad about all those thoughts I had inside my brain. But it's like the writing is like that guy who in college like thought that he was like the funny one out of the group.
Oh, you're right.
You just can't accept that, like you don't have the heart to tell him that he's not.
Yeah.
And so you just have to fucking endure these like try hard jokes. It was very bad writing. There was like, I got a couple of these, couple little, and that's it. There may be like 3 of those. Other than that, it was just like, I don't know. It was just dumb.
It was so hard for me to get through. I remember starting the film and watching the conversation between them and their manager in the boardroom. And they're saying fuck every other word.
I know. My God.
And
it's middle school.
I was like, this is so cringy. Yeah. I can't. There is no universe in which that is good just because it's like paying tribute to some other horror movie. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's fucking bad. That being said, that was one of our main topics. I'm not talking about it later.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. We're done. That's it. That's all I got to say about it.
Dave Grohl killed Kurt Cobain. He killed Taylor Hawkins. And now he killed his own acting career. I mean, got the hat trick. Come on, Dave.
I don't know who the enabler was in that equation. When whoever had the first seedling of an idea for that, and somebody was like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Nope. Doesn't sound good to me, Dave Grohl. Anyway.
I just want to say, people talk about Dave Grohl like he's everybody's best friend, like he's everyone's buddy. Like everybody just thinks he's this like, I don't buy it. Fuck Dave Grohl. There's something there. No, something is off about that guy. I'm telling you, dude, in 10 years, some shit's going to come out about him. I'm going to be vindicated. I know that he is not a good person. I just feel
everything about him exudes like cool dude. Like
yeah, that's exactly why you shouldn't trust him. Look at fucking Jimmy Savile, dude.
Oh, that's true.
You can trust me. I won't touch your kids. And what did he do? He touched the kids.
He touched all the kids. As far as we know, like a lot of them. Very sad, actually. I'm sorry for laughing. Yeah. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, and we're recording a little later than typical. Yeah. So we're gonna try and cruise on through. This is episode 67, as we inch ever closer to the magnum opus of our podcast, which will be episode 69. Yeah. Nice. Already have the name picked out. Just nice. We have surprisingly more week in review than I expected. And because some trailers that I thought looked kind of neat slipped through at the last second, a decent amount of trailers.
Yeah.
Main topics are, we haven't talked about this, but I assume you got to watch everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Meltdown, 3 Mile Island, episode 1 and 2. I actually finished that whole thing, but we're going to talk about the first 2. Outer Range, the whole series. There's 8 episodes. And then Northman, because I finally got a glimpse at that bad boy over the weekend. Also, the Falcon's done. And I showed it to you last night.
Oh, yeah. God, it looks great.
And it gives me big comes.
You should have had it like suspended behind you for this episode.
I thought about starting the video with me just holding this giant Falcon, but then I was like, I don't have pants on.
Yeah.
You know, the old adage. And then that old chestnut. And then I have to figure out like where I'm going to. It's a big motherfucker. Yeah. It is heavy. It looks so good. I was waiting to put pictures up. I have to fork out even more money to buy this really nice acrylic display case to keep little grubby toddler mitts away from it, and I have to do the lighting on it still. But
I have this weird I feel like there's like a hint of like a sociopath in me, because every time you talk about like presenting it or holding it up or lifting it, there's a part of me that wants to see you drop it, because I know you've put so much time into it.
So much time.
And like in the moment, I would pretend that I felt really bad, but as soon as you were out of earshot, I would be like in tears laughing that you dropped that thing.
It's kind of like watching someone carry like a bucket of water on their head. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
and you're like, can I help? But you don't you just kind of inch. You don't actually offer an arm or anything.
Like one night I wanted to show it to Samantha. That's what she said. And I decided to carry it downstairs to show her. And every single step took like 8 years in my head, because I'm like, this is the one. See, this is the one.
Mental image of you tumbling down the stairs onto the Millennium Falcon that you just finished building is just like hilarious to me.
I would actually cry if that thing broke right now. It is honestly a feat of engineering. Like, though, it is incredibly well put together. It's a beautiful bitch. And when I put the lights in, like all these little tiny compartments off the top are easily removable to display. I've got all the fucking minifigs in there with a crew that doesn't make sense, because we've got young Han and Leia and 3PO in the cockpit, and then old Han is manning the turret on top. But fuck it, because it looks cool. Anyway, that's it. We'll stop talking about that stuff.
Oh, we gotta give thoughts on Evil Dead the game for MTs as well.
Oh, you're fucking right.
That shouldn't take too long, but I just remembered that.
We'll just replace Studio 666 with something horror related that's good.
Yeah.
I have like nothing but vitriol to throw at Studio 666.
And you knew within 5 minutes it was going to be bad. It wasn't like a slow realization.
That boardroom scene was like the first one. It was right after like the set dressing of the setting up the house is cursed. It goes right to the boardroom, and I was like, oh no. Like, what have I done? What have I done? Anyway, let's get into it. So, yeah. Why do people like Avatar?
I think it's just a bandwagon thing. I think that's really all it is. No, truly, like, I'm not trying to sound like a hipster. I think it's just like, it's the talked about pop culture thing. So you just kind of do it. You just show up so you can say that you saw it. I mean, I'm going to watch it for that reason.
The Avatar: The Way of the Water trailer's first day views blew even the most recent Star Wars films, well, as this title says, out of the water. I'm sorry. I didn't want to do it, but I could figure no other way to end that sentence. I mean, look, dude, Cameron's got it. You said this last week when we talked about the trailer. He's like one of the godfathers of modern cinema, and there's not a lot to say here because I just wanted to go, holy shit, the amount of views. 148.6 million views in the first 24 hours. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Even Rise of Skywalker, we all knew it wasn't going to live up to expectations, but it was also the last of 9 fucking films. Yeah. So everybody watched the trailer because Palpatine cackled in it. Yeah. That was only 112.4 million in the first 24 hours. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know. There's really nothing else to say. By the way, go follow our TikTok because we just put up a video last week about how they loaded up those avatars with cums.
Kumis.
I was right. We were right. They're like created in a lab, those bodies. Yeah. They weren't like, I remember talking about like, are they shells of people? Because that'd be dark.
Right. That'd be
but they're not.
They just stole natives and like gutted them. Like, all right, we're going to put your brain in here now.
Yeah, they just gave him a lobotomy and then rode over top of him. It's like right in for a hard drive. No, what they did, they're actually genetically matched to the person who's going to be connecting mentally with them. Right. And they're Na'vi human hybrids. So a doctor, and this is all part of my plan, just to reiterate, a doctor totally decided they were going to make those suckers viral, and give them cums, like let them mate. That's fucked up. That's some Dr. Moreau shit.
Isn't it weird? Like if your plan is to just like get some sort of like unobtainium, like some material from the planet, like we should make sure they can fuck the natives though, right? And impregnate them before we go back to our planet.
Exactly. Yeah. They were mining for unobtainium and they were filling the natives with cum-obtainium. Yeah. Anyway.
An ethical error there.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't agree with it. All right, yeah. Anyway, on to the next thing. This is also just an informational dump. I didn't think the Halo show could get any worse.
Yeah.
But Master Cheeks himself.
Nice.
He got to fuck.
He got some fuckings. He puts his dicks in.
they let my boy pull out his needler. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I don't think I have any other Halo related jokes that I could use there. Energy sword? Yeah, that works. Yeah, too. There's a lot. I'm kidding. It's a paramilitary. Yeah. Well, now I can. Wait, what's the rocket launcher? Yeah, that one works too. Anything penis shaped, right?
Right. Battle right. Basically any gun. You could just use any of them.
Yeah, while we're at it, there's some weird allegory there between military weapons and sexual innuendo. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Holy shit. I read this article. I thought it was a joke.
It just shows what we already knew. There's such a gross misunderstanding of the character. Like, nobody's rooting in those games for fucking John Halo to get some puss. Nobody cares about that. Like, I don't know. It's just so stupid. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, we already knew that the show was a complete and utter failure, but this is just the final nail in the coffin. This is just, it's just dumb. Apparently he's like out of his armor for a lot of the show too. I don't know why that bothers me, but it just really does.
Because it's part of his fucking character. And I know that like not everything from video games will translate to real life. Hello, every video game film has failed before. But I mean, the description from this article, this is a Forbes article, by the way. Shout out to, I don't know, whoever wrote this article. Thanks for the sponsorship, Forbes.
John Forbes.
The way this article lists what happened, it makes me extremely angry. So Master Chief had sex with a Covenant spy while Cortana watched.
Yeah.
Apparently they've shown lots of butts on this show. Master Chief's, Kai's, Mackie, even Venture. I don't know who Venture is, but it's not. They say it's not particularly graphic, but it's more about what a terrible decision it is and how far They've fallen from the stoic armored hero from the video games. Effort to humanize Master Chief has has turned him into a different character. He's not Master Chief. Just call him Spartan 118. Like it's not fucking Master Chief. It's Master Cheeks.
Did they renew this for a second season? I feel like they did.
I fucking hope not.
I think they did. I think we covered that. Because I said that I thought it was a bluff. I thought that they basically did it hoping that people would go, ooh, and then show up for season 1.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But every now and then, dude, like I'll see an ad for it on Facebook and like, all right, there are people on there dogging on it, but there's always, dude, there's like way more people than you think. They're like, you guys just have to give it a chance. Like, oh my God, you fucking loser. You're hopeless.
It's the same people that like the live action Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that's really,
I'm calling
that
it.
Venn diagram is a fucking circle, 100%. Yeah. Holy shit.
The Venn diagram looks like when you put on red and blue 3D glasses and they're just slightly ajar. This is only a little sliver. Okay, I feel like we've been real negative so far this episode, but that's the news, boys. I don't know what you want from me. Before I continue, because I've been trying to do this earlier and earlier in the episode, Twitter, and TikTok. At The Cynical Nerd. Facebook as well, at The Cynical Nerd. If you want to email us, it's questions@thecynicalnerd.com. We got this cool new social media manager who we've already abused his trust by telling him we were going to record this last night and then not ending up doing it. That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, we basically edged him and then just left. Just went to the grocery store.
Yeah, walked away, wiped our hands off. Called the end of the day. Okay, so moving on. Christopher, before I spill the beans on this, they've been casting slowly but surely for Dune 2.
Yeah.
As I'm very, very excited. We already know that Florence Pugh has been cast as
God,
Princess.
I love
her. Yeah, she's honey. Irulan, I don't know how to pronounce it. She's the Princess Irulan. And now, adding to the cast for the second film, alongside returning stars, is Christopher fucking Walken, who will play the Emperor. This is awesome casting.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken's a dope guy. I've never I've seen the original Dune film, but I don't, it's been such a long time.
Yeah.
I think I tried to rewatch it after the new one came out and I could not. I was like, no.
It's apparently really bad. And that's even like David Lynch himself has like disowned that movie. But I want to go back and watch it, but since it covers the entire first book, I wanted to read the book first. But
right.
I never read. I just play video games and then go to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm a real slut for video games. What can I say?
We're a little slutty slut. Dude, I can't wait to talk about Evil Dead a little bit.
Me neither.
He's going to be playing the Emperor. The Emperor's name, I just fucking had it in front of me.
Good luck.
Is the most obnoxious name of all time. It is, oh boy. Christopher Walken has been crowned Padisha Emperor Shaddam Corino IV.
Of course.
Nice
and succinct. I feel
Anyway.
like I don't want to, I don't know. This feels like dark. Like I don't want to naysay this at all. But like, I haven't seen Christopher Walken like speak publicly in a long time. And
I know
even
what you're doing.
then he was pretty like not with it. And so I worry that, did we?
Is that Einstein fucking chewing on a bone?
That is exactly what it is. Yeah.
I knew it. I was like, what's that noise sound like?
I got it. Okay. He's on his bed now. Hopefully he'll stay over there. He wasn't he's an old guy. Like he's a really old guy. And he wasn't like even 5 years ago, like he was very stuttery and I don't know. I just worry like whenever I see really old actors show up, it's exciting because of course I love Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
There's another part of me that's like, oh, dude, just stay home and take care of yourself. Like you don't,
I know what you're saying.
Don't like dance around on stage and like take time off of what little time you have left just for my entertainment, please. But of course, it's impossible to not be excited by this. Who doesn't love Christopher Walken? He's incredible.
On the other hand, he's a wonderful dancer. So
he is.
So maybe monkey dance until you pass away. Okay, moving on to the next few. I'm just kidding. He is a gem, and I hope he's okay. And I wasn't kidding. Fantastic dancer. That man has fucking grace for days. I will never be able to achieve it. Grease for D's. Just so you are remembering this correctly, Dune Part 2 is scheduled to hit theaters October 20th, 2023. So,
oh, damn.
A little over a year. Not that far, though. Not as far away as you might fear, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just all in the bad ideas this week, not including Christopher Walken. But there's a rumor that Spinal Tap might be getting a sequel. And I just feel like of any film, I like Spinal Tap, by the way. I think most people do. It's a great mockumentary. Of all the things that you don't touch because you'll fuck it up if you go back to it, I feel like this has got to be in like the top 10 at least. Yeah. And I only say top 10 because I'm sure there are huge franchises that should be in that list as well. But like Spinal Tap was a great film. And I feel like you captured lightning in a bottle with something like that, where everything just works. And it feels, you know, I'm just so afraid that this is going to be just an utter bag of dog shit.
Yeah.
Really. That's all there's to it.
They, you know, I feel like, I don't know if it was the first mockumentary, but it was certainly the first like one that blew up. And so everything that's followed it, you know, kind of uses that as its, what's the word I'm looking for? Like diagram. And like, I feel like anymore mockumentaries like really tread a fine line. Like they can really just be just corny, or I don't know. It feels like some of them just have like check marks that they're hitting. And as long as they have like an awkward, weird panning of the camera, like some Office skit, they automatically think that it's good.
Yeah.
And a lot of them just don't come off that good. Of course there are exceptions, what we do in the shadows, stuff like that. But I think I agree with you on this. Like initially I was excited just because it seems like it's the original director. They have like some of the original gang. They're just older. Obviously they're older now. But I don't know. That doesn't always automatically make for a good movie. So I guess we'll just have to see. I don't know.
Yeah, I just we'll see. So the idea was that Rob Reiner, it was his directorial debut, actually, the original film. He would have returned to, you know, both helm the sequel and play the filmmaker Marty, and he basically tries to get them back together for like a reunion show, which I mean is not the worst idea. It's been 40 years. If they're all still alive and kicking, I just feel like it just exudes trouble.
Yeah. Like there's probably going to be a bit like, oh, my amp goes to 12 now.
Oh, no. That's
I see what you mean. I don't think I was as worried about it until you said that. But like the more you started talking about it, I was like, this could really crash and burn a little bit.
I'm calling it unless we think of something better. Episode 67, our amps go to 12. All right. Moving along. Big surprise here. Really big surprise. Really took me by storm. It's not really the way to say that, but whatever. Starfield, Bethesda's big RPG, has been delayed to 2023.
Next.
Moving on. Next. I'm seriously moving on. Yeah. This is a really cool piece of news. And this is actually our last piece of Week in Review before we go on to the trailers. It's like a bittersweet piece of news, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's the kind of shit I would like to think that I would do if I were funny enough to be a comedian. Norm Macdonald recently deceased. Really a super hilarious fucking guy. So seriously, rest in peace. He shot a secret Netflix stand-up special to be released after he passed away. I guess they said this happened before he was hospitalized way back in 2020. This is his producing partner, Lori Jo Hoekstra, who worked with him on the show Norm Macdonald Has a Show. And they revealed to the Hollywood Reporter that he shot it before he was hospitalized. He had apparently gotten some bad test results and right in the middle of the pandemic. And the night before going in for a procedure, he wanted to get this on tape just in case, as he put it, things went south. It was his intentions to have a special to share if something happened. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And also, it's probably going to be tough to watch, especially like, obviously, I have a lot of fond memories of Norm Macdonald, but I don't know Norm Macdonald, you know.
But you know that watching this, that he's in a state where he knows he doesn't have much time left. So,
oh yeah.
So is he going to be like the norm that we know, or is it going to be, you know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Yeah. And honestly, and I don't mean to make this about me, it gives me my dad vibes. Yeah. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast, but you know about it. I've actually showed it to you. When my father realized he was probably going to pass away, my father passed away of cancer when I was 4. He wrote me this letter, and it's something you hear about in like a movie. It's like a really lovely letter to me about like making sure that I help my mom. It's hard to get through.
It is. I can confirm. Yeah. It was very hard to get through. I read it at work like an asshole. I had to go in the bathroom, get a couple tears out. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Even to this day, I've read it countless times. It's still, I can't, as soon as I start reading it, I'll pull it up and I'm like, I'm totally fine. Like, this is fine. I can talk about it without getting upset. But as soon as I read like Dear Son, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't. Yeah. There we go. For Christ's sake, he talks about me playing with a fucking bow and arrow from Storybook Land while he's writing it. I'm like, Grayson, he's right here. Anyway. But that kind of thing about like leaving something for somebody, after you're gone, of course, there's like other underlying meaning for me because it reminds me of my father. My father went even further, which I don't think I've ever told you. He was real big into motorcycles. Mm-hmm. He was a mechanic. He worked on foreign cars and he rode cycles, and I have his leather jacket and shit, downstairs that used to fit me when I was skinnier. Cause he was a very svelte man. And, he got a motorcycle accident when I was younger, before he got sick, and he like broke his leg and was laid up for a little bit. And the bike my mom thought had been totaled. He actually gave it to a buddy of his to hold for me until I was 18. I shit you not. When I turned 18, I'm telling you, I'm my father's son. Like, I would do this. I would be like, I'm going to plan my son's life out after I'm gone. I'm going to
make him cry on his 18th birthday.
Dude, I swear to God, I got a phone call from my mom. My mom was like, hey, I got your dad's friend, I forget his name, on the phone. He wants to talk to you. I swear, I was like, what? And he told me he had the motorcycle. And ultimately, I didn't get to keep it because I had nowhere to store it and or work on it. And their family, who used to ride with my dad, like her son was really into cycles. And I was like, well, if anyone's going to like keep an eye on it and take care of it, I know it'll be them. Yeah. But anyway, that was a very selfish detour. Norm Macdonald.
No, I think it's people can do. I think that most of the time when people know that they don't have much time left, they kind of sink into a pit of despair. But some people can do some really incredible things with what they know is the last sort of stretch of time that they have. This actually reminds me of Bill Hicks. He was like a comedian in the 90s. I'm sure you've at least heard of him. He had like he talked a lot about like taking acid and opening your mind and blah blah blah. He was this dude from like the South. He had a huge drug addiction, the whole nine. Had this weird career where he got like real dark and angry. He would just be wasted up on stage, like screaming at his crowd. Lost a lot of his fan base, whatever. He ultimately kind of got his image back. And one day he got diagnosed with, I don't remember what it was, but it was some kind of cancer that was like, they were like, look, there's no way you're coming back from this. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell a soul. He booked a tour, and if you watch this stand, it's almost like if you watch it first without knowing that he knew that he was going to die soon afterwards, it's like, it's just funny. It's a good time. It's insightful. It's blah, blah, blah. But like if you watch it again, like knowing that he was going to, it just kind of stings. You're like, it's like he's using his last little bit to tell you something. He's like, all right, I made a lot of mistakes and I have to come up with a point here because I don't have much time. And here's my point. And there's something, I don't know, there's just something enriching and I don't know. It's just nice. And so I'm hoping that this has some aspect of that. Now, granted, maybe we're like boosting this up and it's just going to be Norm Macdonald being fucking.
I hope
Norm
he trolls
Macdonald.
us.
Yeah. So
I hope it's a troll.
But in any event, that'll still be enjoyable. So should be great.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. And what's better is that I clicked off the article just now like an asshole. Here it is. It comes out very soon. It's the end of the month. So we are like, we're getting slammed with content at the end of this month. We have Obi-Wan, Stranger Things coming out, this Norm Macdonald special. It's called Nothing Special. That feels so fucking poignant.
Yeah.
It like makes me upset thinking about the title. It comes out Monday, May 30th. So that Friday will be, I smell something delicious. It must be my lunch chicken for the week. Samantha's pulling apart from the crock pot. Anyway, the crock pot. Friday is going to be Obi-Wan and Stranger Things. That Monday is going to be his stand-up special. And then we, just like another week after that, something starts right in June. The Boys. Right. And when is Miss Marvel? I know you're not that excited about it, but I think it's soon.
I'm not sure.
I will tell you in a sec. June 8th. Holy shit. They're all right there. Yeah. The Boys, but we're going to have so many things.
Nightmare to watch so many shows every week.
Well, Stranger Things it's going to release in a big chunk. They're doing, remember, the two different volumes.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's going to have 2 episodes the first week. The Boys usually drops the whole season.
I don't think so. I think they usually drop the first 3 and then they.
You're right. Yeah. I'm dumb. I was thinking about the animated show that dropped the whole, which was stupid. Yeah. But we're going to have some stuff to talk about. So that'll be fun. All right, we're going to move on. Trailer time. Oh, wait, I got to write down.
Trailer time.
Fucking trailer time. Amps to 11. You gotta remember to write they're 12. Sorry. Oh, I almost fucked that up. Oof. All right. There are, so the first one is actually not a trailer. It's a gameplay. And I just wanted to give general thoughts on it, because it's related to things that we like. I
want to cut you off here. I'm going to get right in front of you here because I just want to explain something to you. I want to go in with this as honestly as I possibly can.
Do it.
I don't want you to feel dissuaded from saying whatever you have to say about this.
Okay.
I skimmed this purely because I want to be surprised by this game. So I'm not saying I didn't watch it. So and tell me whatever features you want, but like it's one thing to hear someone talk about it and like see it in action. I saw like the glider thing that you were talking about. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I didn't. I only watched like probably a collective like 1/4 of this entire video.
Yeah.
Just because I want to go in and just sort of experience these things as they unfold.
Right.
Sorry for my crude interruption. Please continue.
No, it's okay. I have somewhat mixed feelings on the gameplay trailer. So it's Gotham Knights. They released footage for Nightwing and Red Hood. This game's still like 5 months out, so things are gonna be tweaked and improved and made to look better. Right now, the combat looks like it's in the Arkham vein. Like both the characters have unique fighting styles. Nightwing was extremely acrobatic. Red Hood obviously uses those guns a lot. But there was like a little bit of a clunk in the combat that it was visible. And that's the kind of thing I think you iron out before release. I hope so. So I'm going to go in talking about this, assuming that they will iron that out. If they don't, fuck me. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. The other thing is, obviously, they talked about letting you switch between these characters, at will, and being able to venture around the city and play as who you want to play as, and you can play by yourself or you can pull a buddy in for co-op, which is one of the more exciting parts about this. However, that means that they basically have to homogenize abilities, and when I say that, I mean everyone's going to have a means of getting around the city at roughly the same pace, and be able to access the same areas like rooftops. And so in order to do that, they had to stretch the lines a little bit. And maybe this kind of thing doesn't bother you because like you're not like a huge reader of like the Bat Family comic books or whatever. But so Nightwing doesn't have a cape. If you've seen his costume, he's an acrobat. He's basically just in a fucking onesie. Even as Robin, he had a small cape on. But the way he gets around the city to keep up with Robin and Batgirl is he has a glider. It legit looks like a goblin glider that he's hanging on the bottom of, as opposed to riding on top of. It's like whatever. Maybe he invented some piece of tech. That part didn't annoy me that much. What did annoy? I mean, it's silly how it flies in at a moment's notice from off screen somewhere. But I mean, it's a video game. You have to give some kind of leeway here for mechanics. I totally get that. The other part was what bothered me more. And I don't even like Red Hood that much as a character because he's like the edgelord early 2000s Bat Family member, right? Who like he kills, but then sometimes he doesn't kill. It depends on how nice he's playing with the family, and like they wouldn't, if you think about it logically, they wouldn't tolerate that, but they do because he is who he is. So there's a couple things about him. One, he also has no cape. The man wears a leather jacket, for Christ's sakes. He doesn't, but he has like a grapple. You know, he has like a grapple gun. I'm like, all right, well, maybe they'll do something cool. Yeah, he like jumps around in the air on like energy.
It's called like a spirit jump.
Yeah, I hate it.
I think that was the exact word for it, actually.
I hate it. It really bothers me. Like I don't, something in my, I don't, like I said, I don't even like him that much, but the fact that they like changed like fundamental parts of like his lore to accommodate a traversal mechanic, I'm like, that feels lazy to me in a way that I'd rather buy some silly glider or some, you know, like some other version of the glider, like specific to him. Like a fucking hoverboard. I don't give a shit. Like something like Batman and the Bat family, they make gadgets. They're builders, they're tinkerers. They're, you know, they outsmart people with skills because they don't have powers. And to see him like, well, he does. Well, why? Well, we didn't talk about it yet, but there's a reason. They're going to tie it to his resurrection from the Lazarus pit, which is stupid because the Lazarus pit doesn't impede powers on anybody. I know I'm doing super hard nerd talk right now. Point is, I don't like it. That part feels stupid. However, he had like a fairly cool moveset when he's in combat. The pistols with the, you know, acrobatic fighting is really neat. But then they made some mention of him having rubber bullets or some shit, and that just made me like groan and roll my eyes. And I was
that happened to be one of the parts that I watched, and I actually disagree. I thought his moveset looked kind of dumb. Like his one special is just standing there and shooting a bunch of times. I'm like, couldn't do anything different than that. Like
I was trying to throw him a bone, but you're right, it's pretty stupid.
But no, I actually agree. All I really have to say is this: I do want to play this game now. Of course, if it comes out and it has horrendous reviews, then I won't. But it looks interesting enough that I want to give it a shot. But I actually felt you pretty much nailed it. I felt the exact same way. It seems like they're sticking with the core Arkham games sort of, you know, fighting style. But there's definitely some jank there, at least in this trailer. I don't. It's weird. Like they released a gameplay video like a year ago. It feels like I don't even think it feels like. I think it was like a year ago, and that looks pretty smooth. And this doesn't. So I don't know. Like it wasn't so bad. I was like, oh fuck this, but it definitely was noticeable.
It's the kind of thing where you're like, oh, this needs a couple more months for sure.
Yeah, which I guess like is why they delayed it. But
yeah. I have a theory that it just happens to they keep building up co-op and like
I was gonna say I didn't know it was co-op. That's actually a huge plus for me. I had no idea.
Like try and drop in, drop out too. You can just join me free roaming and fuck shit up and, you know, level up your characters. There's a couple things in this game's favor that the Arkham games didn't have, which is like there's different armor sets for these guys that do different things. Some of them look pretty cool. There are multiple traversal methods for, it looks like any of the characters can ride a bat cycle, which is neat. So any of them have ground traversal. Most of them have some method of aerial traversal. And the storyline being centered around the Court of Owls. I think when they originally announced it, I complained because it's a story inherently tied to Batman and his fear of not knowing his city, which I do think that it's like a Venom Spider-Man thing for me. It's like, I feel like that story belongs to be told with Batman first, at least.
Yeah.
However, the Court of Owls is still cool, and I still have some hope for this game. So yeah, hopefully you guys work out the jank. Fuck you, Red Hood. That's the end. It's the end of my thoughts. The next trailer I didn't even know existed until I saw it posted online, and it's soon. It's coming out August 5th on Hulu. This is Prey. It's a film coming out on Hulu. It's a Hulu film, which I didn't really know was happening. From Dan Trachtenberg. Here's the thing. How many different generations of humans have to murder the Predator before we realize that he's not actually, or the species is not actually all that fucking good at killing things? Like, okay, so this looks like they're trying to refresh the Predator formula by setting it in the Comanche Nation 300 years ago. And it's a little teaser, like you told me earlier before we started. It's 44 seconds. It's short. Starts off with a young woman running through the fields, and she like jumps and hides next to someone and face paint, and you go, oh, okay, so they're doing like Native American, cool. And then all of a sudden, the Predator laser lights up on her forehead. And while that inherently makes my penis moved just a little because it's ingrained in my nostalgic brain who grew up in the early 90s. I don't know if there's any gas left in the tank for Predator stuff.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of like heavy lifting that has to be done. I like even the Predator movies that suck. I get some enjoyment out of, which is almost all of them. I get some enjoyment out of them just because I do like the lore. I think it's an interesting concept, like a hunter species that goes to war just basically to improve their tech and come back and try to, kill them again. But it's sort of hard to buy, right? Where like in the first Predator movie, with all their like automatic weaponry and grenades and all this shit, and only one survived in the end. And it's like, you're going hundreds of years back in time with like way, way, way more primitive. I don't know. It's like, I'm not saying I know for a fact it's going to be stupid, but there's a very good chance that it's going to be stupid.
And it's like you guys have been coming back to this planet for 300 years and you keep losing. Like, we're not that fucking good.
Yeah.
You guys are also, you guys are a little stagnant, right? You had that same fucking targeting laser for
for hundreds to improve your tech over these things.
Yeah, that was the whole point. There's just something about it, and it's funny because of that point. Something feels wrong.
Yeah,
with them putting it 300 years in the past, because it does raise these questions that make the premise sound ludicrous. Like this show as an idea, I think makes the Predator mythos worse as a whole.
Yeah. And
I know that's extremely hyperbolic to say that before we've seen anything of the show besides this teaser, but just the concept is like, what?
Yeah.
Now
Einstein's like, chiming in with his thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
He says he thinks it's going to be good.
Well, I sadly disagree with you, Einstein.
Don't go fuck yourself, Einstein.
All right. Next up. Yeah, exactly. He thinks it's going to be bad too. This is a weird one, and I tossed it in only because I thought the art style was incredible.
Yeah.
I love stop motion anything. It always gets me interested in something, especially when done as like a passion project. This is a Shudder original. You know that $6 a month horror service that you probably pay for and forgot about? Talking to you, because I sure did. It's called Mad God. It's a Shudder original. It is directed by Phil Tippett. It says Star Wars and Jurassic Park. I have no idea what he's done in either of those universes. But this is stop motion. It looks very fucking, it's got this really cool style about it. You know what? It reminds me of almost like that movie 9 a little bit.
Yeah.
Like very small degree. Yeah.
Much more adult than that.
Right. And I don't have, oh, hang on. He was, I just hit play on it. Academy Award winner, Jurassic Park Best Visual. Oh, it's a visual effects guy. Okay.
Yeah.
The world's preeminent stop motion animator.
I feel the same way about stop motion. I just have like a weak spot for it. I have always thought it's cool. I will always think it's cool. Which is why you should watch Kubo and the Two Strings if you haven't. Just a little.
Oh my god, so good.
Oh,
so good.
It's an incredible movie. But no, it's I usually hate like whenever you watch a trailer and they have the little reviews, because like it could be from any fucking asshole who doesn't know what he's talking about, who's like praising this movie. But some of them were just worded in a way that was interesting. There's one that said something like singular-minded masterpiece or something like that. It's like these like little snippet reviews were very well written. And the world just looks so interesting. It just looks like it kind of just sucks you in. It's very creepy and dark.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I dig it. There's not really, you have no idea what's going on in the storyline.
This trailer is so wild.
Which is what makes it so interesting, though. That's what's so cool about it. It's like a mystery.
It's so fucking wild. I have no idea what's going on. There's some truly unique images on the screen there. It comes out a month on the Shudder service, so I'm going to pay for it for at least one more month.
Yeah.
And after I watch it, here you go, Mad God. If Mad God is shit, I'm canceling my Shudder subscription. It's on your shoulders.
This is the last straw.
Samantha keeps going, oh, I want to watch like horror stuff on there, and then she forgets, and then another month goes by.
Another $6.
I'm not using it. Yeah, you're really messing me up. I gotta wait another couple years to buy that Falcon again. I realized I have another Lego waiting for me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I have the Luke Skywalker Red 5 helmet. that my mother got me for my birthday in March.
It's a Lego helmet that you can put on your head?
No, it's not big enough for that because I got a big old no, it's like it's a helmet with like a display stand and everything.
Oh, okay.
It's a little smaller. It's only like 500 pieces or something.
Right.
It's gonna feel like a drop in the bucket compared to the behemoth I
right.
just
You're
built.
kind of a Lego pro now.
Right. Yeah. You can kind of topple anything. Actually, I'm a level 9. I was gonna put. All right, moving on. So there's okay. Let's talk about horror some more. Let's talk about horror some more, and let's talk about properties that should probably stop getting new iterations made. Right?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about Resident Evil. Netflix has another fucking Resident Evil show coming out on July 14th. I have no idea what this is about. It takes place, it looks like partially in current day and partially in the future.
Mm-hmm.
New Raccoon City.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck would ever trust the Umbrella Corporation to build anything ever again? I don't. And it's so weird. It's like whatever. This is bad. This looks bad. I don't want it. And I don't think they should make it. And Netflix, I hate you. And that's the end.
I actually thought it looked. I thought it looked kind of cool. I like the imagery of it. It looks well done. It looks cheesy, but like Resident Evil is always cheesy. I don't know. Like that's not like you have to go in expecting it at this point. However, their track record with the property of Resident Evil is very, very, very soiled. So that's not doing any of the heavy lifting here. It just looks like it's like looks like they actually put a good budget into it. I feel like they cheaped out on all the other shit that they've done. Doesn't seem to be the case here. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, it does look like they gave it a bigger budget, and
but the new I'm with you. The new Raccoon City thing is dumb. Like why? Well, it's just like what we're talking about with Predator. It's like, oh, we've already done this era, that era, this era, so let's go 25 years in the future.
Right.
Like we don't need that. Just go to the mansion. Make it a show about the first game. Yeah. That's what everybody loves.
My fear here is that Resident Evil live action, always does best when it's as physical as possible. And really any creature thing is always going to look better if it's a physical prop. And there's a couple snippets in here that are CGI of creatures and they don't look great. Yeah. And I don't expect them to look great, but they're quick. So you don't see them real well. There's a dog in here that runs towards the camera that's CGI. He doesn't look good. There's a couple flashes of some giant creature attacking something. But there's the cool shot in the middle of the field. They shoot up the flare, and you can see a bunch of zombies, rab zombies. And it's a bunch of people in physical makeup, and they look pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're going to make zombies, they look good. Especially, like, they look unique. They all have, like, white eyes. Like, they didn't, they look slightly different than zombies I'm used to looking at, like Walking Dead, where they're just, like, walking moss pits. But I don't know. I think it's because of the slight.
You ever hear someone at work talking about how they still watch The Walking Dead and just feel sorry for them? Like all I can do is just pity people that are still like, oh, Daryl. I'm like, oh my God, come on, give up. I know it's the last season, but just give up so you have your dignity. Some of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know exactly. I know the name of a person that fits that description. It's almost as if you knew who they are as well. Like we work in the same place. I don't know. Sorry for being so negative about it. I don't have any hopes for it. The track record for live action Resident Evil anything has been absolute garbage. Netflix has not done the series any favors so far.
And it hasn't done many series many favors, period. So
that's true. Like Witcher, like one of the only ones that they've done anything good with.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
Thanks for reminding me to Flask, bro.
Oh, Flask it. Thanks for the sponsor, Hydro Flask. All right. This is the one I've been wanting to talk about.
Let's do it.
Just came out today. I'm actually glad we put off recording yesterday because we would have had to wait a week to talk about this. The Boys, which we just talked about, which comes out next month, June 3rd. They released a full proper 2.5 minute season 3 trailer. And whenever Derek and I talk about The Boys, we always hone in on Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. And this season looks like it's going to be all about him and his just descent into, cracking, becoming absolutely fucking crazy. The whole trailer, it starts off amazingly with him on a press tour reciting about how he made a bad decision about crazy Nazi chick. I already forget her name. I liked her, by the way. As an actor. Yeah. As a bad person, she did her job well. Stormfront, you're right. He's on a press tour basically saying, I fell in love with the wrong woman. And they do the cool thing that I've seen some people do when widely owned network chains are fed the same lines to read to people, and they sync them up. And they sync him up saying the same shit across all these networks. And then there's all these people saying there's something wrong with him. He's going fucking crazy. And we see Homelander doing weird Homelander shit, milking a cow, getting his jollies off, touching a bloodstain on a bed, which is fucking weird.
Yeah.
And we find out it's been a year, I think, since the events of the last game. I think someone in there mentions it's been a year because someone's talking to Butcher and they say that he's been good for a year.
Yeah.
He's even been taking orders from Huey, it looks like working with the government. And I mean, I don't really understand how Soldier Boy is played by Jensen Ackles factors into this. I think he's going to be their key to like exposing Vought at some level. It seems like because they're like looking for him almost.
Dude, he looks so excellent. My God, his like all of it, just his character design is like flawless. It's so incredible.
He is a manly man. He's basically like the boys' version of Captain America.
Yeah.
Which means he's going to be super fucked
Except
up.
he's a dick. Yeah.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, in the comic books, like they ran a train on him. Like
we talked about it on the show. It was at the what's the fucking fuck fest called? I can't remember.
I don't know, but I think they made Soldier Boy suck a bunch of dinguses.
Dingles?
Yeah, or dangles,
Some
whichever your
dangles.
preference. Yeah, Dingles v. Dangles versus the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court went out here, Dingles v. Dangles. Who will win? Tune in next week to find out. I don't know. This trailer was cool, and I'm looking forward to the season.
It was.
Really
it got
me pumped.
We saw. It's not Maeve, right? It's Mauve, or is it Maeve?
Maeve. I always said Maeve.
I feel like it's Maeve. She is clearly like a part of some like covert operation. She's like bringing them V that they can use, which is more closely related to the comic books where they injected V. It gave them superpowers for like a couple hours.
I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, good job bringing it up.
And she looks like she brings them the samples, at least the way they're cutting it. She looks like she's in some kind of disguise. So I guess there's some like continuation on the fact that she basically, found her moral footing at the end of season 2.
Right.
Which is cool. Like, I hate when they end a season and then like by the next season, that character just goes through that arc again. It's like, that's a little weird. So it's cool to see that they're continuing that sort of thread. I think what they're setting up and what's really exciting is that all that Homelander has left at this point he lost his weird mommy fuck buddy thing. He lost Stormfront. He basically got like worked by people he sees as just so inferior to him, just like roaches in his eyes.
Right.
So all he has left, like holding him back, that is like the one thing people have control over him is his public image. And you can see in this trailer that he's like cracking when he's in public. Like he has these weird, like his face gets all like distorted. And so I think what we're going to see throughout this season is him realizing, isn't it weird that you root for a bad guy like this? Like he's such a piece of shit, but like you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next with him. I think that the theme of this season is basically going to be him realizing like the one way people still have control over me is that I have to be the good guy. So if I'm just the bad guy, if I'm just who I am, I can do whatever the fuck I want and nobody can stop me. And just to see him the idea of him becoming unhinged like that is just really exciting.
Yeah. And the idea of him finally realizing like, why am I even pretending? Like, fuck you guys. I'm a god to you. You don't matter. That's really cool. I also really like, you mentioned the thing in the comics where they get like this gives you powers for 24 hours or whatever. I also like the conversation around it. They put it in the trailer, but it's going to be in the show, obviously, of like we fight against this. We don't use this.
Oh, Mother's Milk had said that.
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing?
This
like,
is what we're
trying to
against or something.
And then Butcher's like, I'm leveling the playing field. So there's a really interesting conflict there between like, should we or shouldn't we use this? Obviously, Butcher's going to fucking use it. We've already seen the teaser of his eyes lit up. He burned some shit with laser vision in this. It's just interesting because as far as we know, these babies who were injected with V to produce superheroes, the powers were random.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know what would happen. So I'm curious if they have an explanation for how these vials seem to give predictable results.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's temporary. Maybe they lock down some kind of form because it doesn't look like V. It's a different color.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know
cool.
In the comic books, I'm fairly certain. I only read the first like 12 issues or so of it. I'm fairly certain that anybody who was not a superhero, when they took V, they just got like super strong and super fast. There was no like you had a superpower unique to you, like
gotcha.
You would get something like what Starlight has or something. So I'm wondering. I guess you don't have to wonder because we see Butcher gets the laser eyes. So I guess maybe everybody does have some weird innate, gene that I guess that formula exploits.
Either that or they just turn you to Superman for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like, so get the whole gamut. Fuck it. You get the big weird tendril dick thing too from season 2.
Yeah. Very important. Very critical.
Yeah. That's Todd McTutchins.
Todd McTutchins rides again.
Good old Toddy. Hot Toddy. All right. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's been a while since we've seen the boys. The boys. And this, we had like the little teaser, and I was like, okay, but the teaser was a little goofier.
Yeah.
In tone. It was a little more like, get ready because the antics of the boys are good. But this trailer is much more serious and honestly reignite. I was like, oh shit, I'm ready for this. I am looking forward to the show coming back. I forgot that fucking Gustavo Fring himself was in the show.
Yeah.
I don't know how I forgot that. He's an awesome actor. He always plays menacing but reserved very well. Like he's just the same guy and everything, but that's okay because every once in a while you need that kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's it. Coming out soon, June 3rd, less than a month away. Excited for that. Let's hope they release all of it at once. I know they won't.
Yeah. Almost certainly not.
Yeah. Moving on. Main topics time. MTs, baby.
Moving
MTs.
right along.
How's your pee holder?
We're good. It's holding.
AKA bladder.
Yeah. I like pee holder better. When I go to my urologist, I'm like, my pee holder kind of fills up pretty quick. Do you ever feel that way?
Pretty quickly. Sometimes I got to empty the pee holder several times a night. I have to get
my inward pee sack.
The pee holder, as you call it in French. Anyway, moving on. Not talking about Studio 666. We'll just talk about Evil Dead because this kind of came 666. This kind of came out and surprised all of us. One, because I forgot it was coming out so soon. It was just kind of like, hey, we're here. We had known it was coming out. We had looked at gameplay for it. I had seen trailers for it, and it looked fun. And then it came out, and we were all kind of bored Friday night, like in the throes of boredom. You and I were like, I especially was just sitting here. I was like, okay.
I think I bought it at like 10:30 p.m.
It was really late. Yeah. We're like, I was about ready to start building the Falcon, and I'm like, say the word, and you're like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, all right, click. We started streaming very late that night.
Yeah.
So we saw it come out and we're looking for something to do, and I'm watching people play. And hilariously enough, I've watched people play as the demon, and I was watching them just wipe the floor with these survivors, destroying them. And it could have been because it was day one stuff and people didn't know what they were doing. But it looked really fun, and it looked like a good time. And we pulled the trigger and bought it. And the game is really enjoyable for me so far. It hasn't even worn off slightly to me yet, like the gameplay routine. I'm hoping they eventually introduce, I don't know if it's like more game modes, but right now the formula is very succinct. And I'll give you the rundown, and then Derek can give his thoughts about it. There are 4 survivors versus a bad guy. It's asymmetrical layout, 4v1. 3 different demons to choose from. I think the funny part about the survivors is not only are there classes, but each class has a version of Ash. So technically you can run 4 Ashes into a place.
And a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It gets very confusing.
there's leader, warrior, hunter, and support, and they all have very different abilities. And it's almost like a Deep Rock Galactic. Like they all work off of each other in different ways, and they work pretty fun. So the survivors are tasked with, they come in, they have to loot, obviously, because this isn't Dead by Daylight. You're not passively trying to win by starting generators and evading. You're fighting off hordes of Deadites. You have to go find 3 map fragments. There are vehicles on the map. After you find them, you get the location of the Kandarian dagger, and I always forget the other one. It's a
map.
I don't know. It's a spell incantation, maybe scroll. Yeah. You pick those 2 up. Each of those is like a horde mode thing. You have to protect it for so long until it's like charged up. After that's done, you have to banish these awesome looking fucking demons in a Ghostbuster style amulet shit. You whittle down those bars all the while being attacked. And finally, you just protect the Necronomicon for a certain amount of time and then you win. It's a lot of fun.
It's incredible.
I'm having a blast with it.
All the while, the whoever's playing the Deadite is basically springing traps for you. You have like, there's a lot of cool mechanics. So you have like a fear meter where like as your fear raises, which happens when you're not near a source of light or you're not near your teammates, there's actually traps that the Deadite can leave that if you walk over, someone will go blah right on your screen and actually scare you in real life.
Oh, it's terrifying.
But it makes your fear bar go up by like 30%. It's pretty significant. Once you reach a certain point of, your fear passes a certain threshold.
It's like 75% or something.
Yeah. So you can actually be possessed, and they'll actually, whoever's playing the Deadite will control your character and basically turn on your teammates. Or in one case, we had Phil, who was our healer, and we were all low health, and he possessed Phil and just ran really far away, and that actually worked. Like we died, we lost.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of cool shit. They can possess cars. So like if you're all in a car driving the next thing, all of a sudden you all get kicked out of the car and the car will drive off. It's very, very fun so far. Yeah. I think everybody's still figuring it out, and I think we can't take too many breaks because that first night we did really poorly. It's one of those games, like any online game, if you have randos, it's going to be harder because they don't listen to you. You have to convince 3 of your friends to buy it, or it's not going to be the full experience. When we had a full team, we were shredding it. And I actually disagree that, well, sort of. Last night got to a point where we had won, I think, 2 in a row. And that's after the like 4 that we had won the previous night. And I was like, man, is this game like way too in favor of the survivors? And is this just going to be like easy every single time? And then, of course, the very next match we played,
we got smashed.
We didn't just lose. We got destroyed. This dude was relentless, throwing Deadites at us left and right. We couldn't even loot anything. We couldn't. It's all about like what. Yeah, there's a level up system too, where like you have stats that you can get little things for to upgrade your melee damage, your health, your stamina, your fear resistance, whatever. If you don't get those, you're not doing enough damage to like hold off the Deadites. So all they have to do is constantly just be thrown at you, and you can't even be bothered to pick this shit up. I think I'm rambling at this point. The last thing I'll say is this: the most surprising thing about the game to me is how beautiful it is. I didn't expect that. Good. The lighting is really good. It like captures the just like vibe and aesthetic of the movie so well, dude. The Shaq from the movies is in it, and it's just fucking cool. It's a really, really good game. I'm excited to play more of it.
Yeah, I'm excited tue. And again, I haven't even touched playing as the demon. Like I would like to try that out and see how it is. I've been reading up on other people's abilities because none of us have been taking the hunter class, and they are able to stop a possession. If people get possessed, they can stop the possession. And if they exercise a player controlled like elite unit, it'll lower the demon's infernal energy, which I assume is what they use to like put down traps and spawn in units and stuff. So there's use in there that we're not even getting out of it. In fact, I would say like if we didn't have support Ash, you'd want like a hunter that could exercise so that if people got possessed, you still have a means to fix it. It combines a lot of elements that I like. It's horde mode-y, but only a little bit.
Yeah.
It's it feels like the classes are made to complement each other, but that only goes so far.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of little things that combined into this experience that somehow ends up feeling like unique, even though it's like not.
I think that's what's brilliant about it is that it's not like a couple. Most games come out and they're trying to hit a mark of like a couple very complex mechanics that you just learn over time, and then it clicks and you go, this is like 100 very, very simple mechanics. And and you're not like, never feels like you're juggling too much. Like you're juggling enough that you feel a struggle, which you should if you want, when you're playing any game, like that's the whole idea. But it's like, the concept of it is, it's very basic, but in a good way. Like it's not dumb or, I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's just like you get the basics of it almost immediately. And then you just pick up little things here and there as you go, like on your third match. Oh, that's what that does. No, that's what the matchsticks are for. And that's what this, it's very, I don't know. It's just intuitive.
Yeah. I'm usually the champion of like, I don't like to settle into one specific role in these types of games and not do anything else, but that's all I've done because I've had such a blast just demolishing Deadites with the warrior, just putting out like crazy numbers. And I like being the guy when they summon the big guy with the sword. And you go, they're summoning him. And I'm like, they're talking to me. I got to go kill this motherfucker. My way. Yeah, I'll be right there, motherfucker. I popped my wise man's potion. He's about to get destroyed. It's very fun. And, our friend Peeb is kind of settled into, he likes healing. He likes being support. And the healing abilities are disgusting if you can use them properly with the skill tree.
Peeb and Scoot running support. So Scoot is healing our fear and Peeb is healing our health. Oh, it's great.
But like support Ash has the ability to like, if he drinks a cola, it heals all. It's like a fucking prayer of healing from World War. Like it's disgusting. They feel like overpowered abilities if you take them out of context. But when you think about, okay, well you could do that, but you're not killing people in the same way that I am.
Yeah.
And you're not buffing the group in the same way that you are.
And a lot of those group like abilities, once you're like 10 feet away from each other, you are out of range. Like they don't have very much range. So like there is a sort of finesse. You can't just like hope everybody, even though you're like fighting off a horde around a central area, it's not like you just go, all right, I'm popping my thing because we're all sort of in the same area. You have to like huddle up to make sure some of those abilities really hit everyone.
And we got all four of us, and at that point had all played a decent amount of the game, and it felt pretty comfortable. I mean, we group up for anti-fear, group up to heal. Yeah. Okay, we know what we're doing. I'll watch the ads. You do this. We had it down. And then all of a sudden, here comes this big dick motherfucker.
He fucked us up,
and he did, and I was impressed because I was the same. We're repeating ourselves at this point, but the same as you, I was afraid that I was like, oh, we figured it out. We solved the riddle. We're unstoppable. And this guy from the minute, usually you can tell pretty easily if they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And from the moment we started looting, I got demons popping in on me. I'm like, already? Holy shit. So there you go. We found the tryhard in the basement that's been playing nonstop since day one. And
which was 3 days ago.
Props to him. I forget his name. He really did put us through the fucking ringer, though. All right, moving on. The documentary Meltdown, 3 Mile Island. I just did this recently. I have a confession to make.
It's okay.
Yeah.
More appropriate this episode since we covered that Dave Grohl movie.
I'm a sucker for documentaries that tell me shit. I know this is going to be a no shit statement. That tell me shit about events that I might have heard about through, I don't want to say through the grapevine, but through just, history. Like you hear about it in history class or because you might live in the area, which is the case with 3 Mile Island. I've heard the name 3 Mile Island since I was a kid. I've heard of it. I never really understood the extent to which there were problems there. Mm-hmm. And I thought, spoiler alert, that I thought this documentary was pretty well done. Yeah. There's a personal touch in it that if you haven't seen the whole thing, I won't spoil. It wraps up nicely, at least. And it gets worse and worse. Like any good documentary, it starts off and you're like, well, that's not good. And you're like, ooh, okay. And so you lied to, okay, all right, it's getting worse. All right, getting worse. All right. And it just gets worse and worse and worse until.
But they keep doing this thing too, where it's like, they make you think like it's over. They're like, oh, but then on the third day they stabilize the pressurizer, and you're like, oh, all right, good. Now we're on the other side of the hill. And then it's like, but then a bomb blew up underground. And it's like, oh no, we're not out of the fucking water yet.
There was a thing where they were like, okay, we think we've stabilized, we're good.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get back in because they had yet to officially, I forget which episode this is in. So I hope I'm not spoiling anything.
I don't care if you do. I didn't watch the third one. I don't care if you do. It's fine.
Okay. There's a point where they're like, well, you know, we think we're stable. The radiation coming out is leveled off, you know, whatever. The temperature readings aren't terrible. But we don't actually know how much damage was done. And they put like a camera down into the reactor core to see. And that's when they realized.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
How fucking bad it was. And I'm like, oh my God, it's getting worse. And that's exactly what you made me think of when you said that.
The core collapsed in on itself. It was like, yeah. Now, I think it's really well done. They have like these, sometimes dramatization can come off like, come on, are you kidding?
Yeah.
It's actually done really well in this. I agree. It's interesting because it's not talked about much now, but I remember being a kid, and that was so early 90s. So you're talking about still a good, 10 to 15 years afterwards.
Yeah.
And hearing about it on the news.
Oh, yeah.
With some frequency, like not every day or anything, but it was like something people talked about a lot back then. So to see the sort of, honed in on scope of it, especially it's now, the state that I live in. I don't know if it's comforting or horrifying to know that the way that like corporations and government it's like, you like to think like it's just your generation that fucked everything up. And it's like, you see something like this, like, oh, nobody's ever really known what they're doing. It's kind of been a nightmare since day one. We just haven't figured it out yet.
Uh-huh. Nope. There is an ever-present dread. Like I do genuinely enjoy watching these types of things, but there's an ever-present dread that these types of things stoke the fear of, where it's like no one knows what they're doing and they're constantly just hiding the truth to make money for as long as they can at the expense of everyone else. And how do I know that's not happening to me in my area right now? And I don't know about it. You know what I mean?
Well, they made this they set the stage in the first couple minutes of the first episode very well by basically like they talk about, the sort of cultural idea of nuclear energy. And of course, the first thing anybody knew about it was the bombs dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yep.
And then it was like, I think approved, like nuclear reactors were approved in like 1974 or something. And by 77 or something is when 3 Mile Island went up. And it's kind of like the people who were talking about why they worked in this plant and their qualifications were kind of like, none of them said like, I wasn't qualified for this, but you get the sense that like, it's such a new technology. Like none of these people really should have been in control of something so dangerous. Like, and I guess you could blame some of it on ignorance because we just hadn't experienced something like that yet. I mean, other than the bomb, but I mean, in a reactor anyway. But it's just like, I mean, we already said it, but it's creepy to just think like something that have that much of a fallout, just has people who like, maybe like they talk about when the alarms first went off and they all just sort of stood there and they were like, what? Like, it's like that nobody had any idea what to do for a little while. And it's like, they spent hours just calling people and getting people in as this fucking reactor core is melting down. And it's like, it's just creepy that there's no protocol or regulation that was in place to like, I don't know. It's just, it is dread inducing.
Yeah. All right, cool. Moving on. I recommend it. If you guys are into that kind of thing, feel like those documentaries. I agree. It's something I couldn't pinpoint, but it did feel good. Much like Preparation H on the whole. I don't know why I'm proud of that reference. It was a stupid one. It did feel good, the dramatization. It wasn't overly corny. Like a lot of that stuff comes off as really bad.
Yeah.
Like Studio 666 bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here it was fine. Anyway. Okay, moving on. Outer Range.
Outer Range, Veronica, both in real life behind me and when you're listening to this episode, stop listening because I'm going to try to talk you into watching this show.
Oh, stop listening.
Stop listening.
Unfortunately, I don't know when you can come back in yet, but
we'll let you know.
I'm sure. Derek's actually have to tell you. I'll give you a timestamp. Wait, well, she's right there. Yeah, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, no. Okay, fuck it. Overall, this 8 episodes total. about a ranch, the Abbott Ranch, a mysterious hole in the ground that turns out to be some kind of wormhole through certain periods of time. And the family's turmoil between them and a rival ranch, the Tillersons, and just how everyone's kind of intertwined. And the one big thing I will say here is that the reveal of who a certain character is, I saw a mile away. Like with the first
totally
time.
I did not.
No?
No.
Oh, that must have been good for you then.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Was it good sex?
I did.
Kidding. That sounds gross. I
was home alone and I went, oh, and did a single clap. That's how I reacted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it got you.
I did not see it at all. Mm-mm.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, you just made me feel dumb though.
I'm really sorry.
Really? You didn't see that coming, you idiot?
So, that's the thing. I don't know what it is. Because I knew that there was a wormhole, like the second some mysterious stranger shows up, and like they just always did this thing where there was a couple times they would cut from Autumn to Amy,
right?
And like I'm like, they're just framing, like this is just set up, and I don't know, I wasn't sure about it for a while, but the closer we got, I'm like, it's definitely her. And then it wasn't like it didn't. I'm not saying it was bad or poorly done. I thought it was well done, but every actor in the show is wonderful.
There's not one who isn't like excellent.
The guy you pointed out, the guy who plays Perry, I always forget his name, but he was the only point of light in Iron Fist.
Yeah.
One of the Meacham twins, I think.
Yeah.
Was it Meacham? Sure. Ward Meacham. Everybody in this show is so fucking good as an actor. Like I have some criticisms.
Guy, before you get away from Perry though, the actor expresses like true inner anguish so well.
He does.
Like he has these scenes both in Iron Fist and in this where he's just like he's sort of having like a meltdown but trying to like stay composed. It's so fucking palpable, dude. He's so good at that.
Yeah. So I have criticism. Overall, I like the show. I thought it was a good show. I thought at first that the idea of kind of mixing sci-fi with this middle of nowhere take sounded interesting, and it was for all the same reasons I thought that it would be. Brolin's an awesome actor. He always is. There's a couple scenes of him bursting into rage out of nowhere, and those scenes are very powerful, and I love listening to him like scream at somebody. It sounds weird to say, but like he's got this gristle in his voice that when he screams at somebody, if I was near him, I would be intimidated. I would be like, oh, tail between my legs. But I have some issues with the show. I'd rather you give overall thoughts before I dig into any of the things that bother me. But how did you feel overall about the Outer Ranch? Overall,
it's a character drama, and it's like it's the sci-fi shit that's going on in it is it's a costume to what it really is, which is a family drama, an individual character-driven drama. And I don't mind that. That's okay. Like so. The one concern that I have is this. Another show that applies to is Lost. Lost never had anything to do with what was going on the island and all the mysteries. All that shit was just stuff to give excuses to bring characters from point A to point B to see their development. Right. And ultimately, you know, when you think about the good things of that show, I don't know if you watched it, but when anybody thinks about the good things of that show, they think about the characters. Nothing that happened in the actual world of the show was interesting enough to be memorable. And here's what I'm getting at. As long as they don't lose sight of the fact that it is a character-driven drama and start to just keep throwing curveballs of this wild sci-fi shit just to make people go, whoa, every single episode like they did with Lost. Because it gets tiring after a while. It's like, and I sort of felt that like almost towards the end of this. Like it started to get to a point where I was like, all right, like chill out, answer some questions before you provide more questions. Right. That was a little frustrating. It wasn't frustrating. It was on the cusp of becoming frustrating. But the characters in this character-driven drama are so excellently written and so brilliantly acted that for the time being, that wins out, in my opinion. Like you said, Josh Brolin dude, his range is incredible. He plays this like quiet guy, and it's funny because
outer
he's
range.
This, like,
Sorry,
he's like a it's funny because he's such a big, menacing, beefy, muscular guy, but he's real quiet. He mostly just speaks in one word, like, "Yep, all right."
Yeah.
And then when he has those outbursts, like I think we talked about on the show, there's like a scene where he's praying, and in the middle, he just starts to get angry at God, and he just starts to scream in this prayer.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he catches up with Rhett right in the last episode, right before he goes on his final, bull run or whatever the fuck you would call it.
Yeah.
And he just like wants to say something to him. He just knows.
Oh, that was a good moment.
Knows that he has like this emotional connection that he wants to have with him, but has no fucking idea because he's quiet and reserved. He just can't find the words. Dude, it was such good acting. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But even like, all right, so a lot of the people you've seen before, you've seen, I can't think of her name now. The wife, she's an excellent actress. But even the people you've never seen, Imogen Poots is obviously everything she's in. She's incredible in.
Yeah.
But like even the people I've never seen Rhett or I think Maria is his love interest name.
Yeah,
they're great actors. Like everybody. Yeah. Like it's really the brothers over at the rival ranch. All interesting. Like there's never any show you watch, even the ones you love. There's always like a character or two that comes on screen, and you're like. This fight. Are we gonna? How long? How much of this episode are we gonna dedicate to this shitty character nobody really cares about? There's really none in this show. They're all that have some level of interest. Of course, some are more interesting than others.
Yeah,
but none of them like suck. So I'm all in for season 2.
Yeah,
like I said, I feel like there's a danger of it becoming hokey.
Yeah,
and so hopefully it doesn't. But for the time being, I very, very highly recommend it.
Yeah, so that's actually my only criticism of the show is the pieces of this that are left open-ended to potentially go into a season 2, and my concern that they may never get answered. And that's always my concern when they do these high concept sci-fi stories like this. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and because of that, towards the end, I get this uneasiness that like, well, okay, I mean, I like where the show ended. I thought the show was fantastic. I appreciate the sci-fi elements. I think they were done well. I just, it's the whole, I wasn't sure if this was going to be a limited series or something trying to set up for multiple seasons. And it's very clearly setting up for multiple seasons. There are lots of threads left hanging. Amy's mother, Rebecca, shows up at the rodeo,
right,
and takes her away and says, "You got to come with me." Where has she been? Somebody theorized that because Perry's lost, he threw himself in the hole. They said some theorized that because Perry offered himself to the void, Rebecca was able to come back, but we don't know the nature of the void yet, which is one of the things that kind of bothered me. Is I want to know. We got 8 episodes and no one kind of knows the rules of this thing yet. Royal was thrown to the future. And in this future, he had been killed, and it looks like the Tillersons had purchased the ranch. And I don't know if that was supposed to be what's definitely going to happen or a worst case timeline. And there's just a lot of I don't know what you were trying to do here. Like, it's interesting, and it all works towards providing good character development. And ultimately what the show is, like you said, is about these character dramas. Look, all of these things are first world problem nitpick quibbles because the acting is so top notch and the development so well written that you could just write out the sci-fi stuff altogether or minimalize it. And I'm fine with that. Everybody's wonderful. But that's all I got. I would say, I know you already praised Imogen Poots acting in this show, but holy cow, when her character starts to go a little manic because she's off her meds, it is such a well acted transition into the paranoia and the fast talking.
It makes you uncomfortable watching it, which is I don't know. That just speaks volumes to someone's ability to act. Where it's like, when everybody's been at McDonald's and there's someone who's clearly off their meds, ahead of you in line, that's talking. You're like, just get me the fuck out of here. And so when you're watching TV and you're safe in your home and someone can make you feel that way through a TV, it's pretty impressive.
That's a good way to describe it. It's someone's at McDonald's and you're like, you should up your dosage a little bit, huh? Sorry, bye. All right, last but not least, You saw the Northman in theaters.
Indeed.
I just watched it the other night. So I figured we'd go back over it because you gave kind of general thoughts about it, and now I can actually talk intelligently about it. It's wonderful. I mean, like, I don't know, like, it's hard. Like, what? Here's the thing. You have to. There is no. This is a prerequisite for enjoying this film. You have to understand that Robert Eggers loves the slow burn, and that seeps into even this film, which is the most action-packed, adventure film, so to speak, that he's made to date. You have to understand that everything sits, and you sit in all these scenes, and you just bask in the fucking uncomfortableness or the glory. I will say his whole gimmick with there being like a fart or joke in every film, it's tired to me. It's not funny. Like, when it happened, I literally rolled my eyes. Like, I could not roll them harder. But that's the only.
Can I just interject real quick and tell you that I was when the moment I got home from watching that, I actually looked it up because he loves to do deep dives on culture, and I'm like, all right, maybe that's like maybe the fart thing and the because Ethan Hawke farts and the kid burps or whatever, and I'm like, maybe that's like a weird cultural thing with the Vikings. And he they directly asked him, like, was that a part of the ritual? Like, they would take drugs and then the louder they could burp or fart was like a show of manhood. And he's like, no, I just wanted it in there. So it's literally just fart show. I don't know. I love him. I don't mind him.
I don't know. It's just it's from this. It's like, I'm deleting something in Dropbox, by the way. Don't forget.
Thank you for that.
It's just this sort of thing where this film is so serious, and it should be. It's a harrowing film. It's a harrowing story. It is unapologetic revenge to the very end. He's got a chance to leave with her, and he doesn't because he just wants to.
Is one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
In recent history, it's so good. My
recent
God.
History.
Yeah.
It's high praise.
Yes.
And it's great because of that. There's an intensity to this film that you don't often get in a lot of epics like this. And it's the fart thing just ruins it, dude. I just hate it. I hate it. It just pulls me right out of that feeling. Willem Dafoe's great. I love that he pops in as the jester.
Yeah.
And just takes a crack at the fucking queen. And Ethan Hawke's like, he's supposed to do that shit. Yeah. He's a goofy bitch, so I keep him around. Then it turns out that goofy bitch has got some legitimate power because his skull is being kept around just to commune with people.
Yeah.
I don't want to. There's so many details I could bring up, but it's of course it's gorgeous.
It is so unbelievably gorgeous, though. It is so well shot. It's amazing. The scene on the boat I really love. Here's what I couldn't really say without spoiling anything for you when I initially talked.
Gotcha.
And that's that. There's this brilliant, like, how I said there's all this great talent in it. And then there's it stars Alexander Skarsgård. I mean, do you agree with me? Like, I feel like out of all these brilliant Academy Award winning actors and actresses, he stole the show. He was incredible. I thought that he brought this, there's a reason we see him in the beginning as this hapless, joyful kid. And then the next scene, we see him fucking murdering people relentlessly as a 7-foot tall adult. And throughout the movie, we see that he's ruthless and he's angry and he's full of revenge, but he still has that tenderness of a child that I think that Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Olga is her name, brings out in him. She looks so good. My God, she is incredible. I know that's always the worst thing whenever we talk about a great actress.
I know. I always feel like such a fucking misogynist.
But it's God, she does, dude. She looks so good. But
she's just pause for a second. She's a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen Queen's Gambit, I could not recommend that show highly enough. She is a powerhouse in that, but she's wonderful in this. She just happens to be a gorgeous fucking woman. I can't help it. Anyway, continue.
But no, there's the choice. I think now you see what I meant when I said I was worried at a certain point, a good 2/3 of the way through, this is really set up like a typical revenge film. Is he going to cop out and do an indie ending? And he didn't. That final battle was fucking amazing, dude, at the volcano between him and what is his uncle's name? I can't even think of it now. Fjolnir, that's it. But there were just these scenes that brought out, I don't know, they were just very emotional. There was the part with Bjork where she makes the prophecy, you'll have to choose kindness for your kin or hatred for your enemy or something. And the scene on the boat with him and Olga where he's like crying, he knows she's pregnant and he tells her about the prophecy and he just says, I choose both, and dives off the fucking boat, was just so like, I just had tears well up in my eye. I thought it was such a beautifully shot scene because you see him as this crazy dude, like stabbing people through the fucking face, like the noseless guy. He like slowly puts his fucking.
That was hardcore.
Also, now you know what I was talking about when I said that he basically did his typical thing where he's basically presents scenes where like, okay, did it actually happen in this mythological way, or is it just maybe something the character imagined because they believe in this mythology so deeply? And that's like the scene when he gets the sword. I forget the name of the sword. He like fights this skeletal like Viking thing or whatever,
which is awesome.
Awesome scene. And then literally afterwards, it just pans over and he just grabs the sword from him. So it kind of makes you question, like, did he actually fight that guy, or was that just like some dramatization in his head?
Right. That he would still tell everybody he did.
Yeah. Right. Of course.
Over some beers.
I'm glad.
The Fresh Prince of Fjolnir. It doesn't really work, but whatever.
I really can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, it was very good, and it's funny because when that scene happened, when he fights that skeletal Viking or whatever, I was like, this feels like a video game, but like in a good way, in like a Witcher 3 way, where I'm like, this quest, this tale feels epic, and we're almost at the conclusion. I just got the fucking mythic weapon I'm supposed to get. It's a good film. It really is. Like I said, I had to readjust. I hit play and I'm watching him, like literally I'm like, oh right, this is Robert Eggers. I have to remember that he sits in every scene, and it can make the movie, compared to a lot of modern day cinema, feel like it's dragging, but the scenes are so beautiful and they really should be sat in. You should absorb the feeling that they give you, and the cinematography, which is gorgeous all the time. And there's even like, of course you're rooting for our main character, but there's sometimes when it's hard to, even right away when they catch up with him as an adult, he is with a band of fucking horrible people.
Yeah.
Who throw children into a building and light it on fire.
Yeah.
And like take and rape the women. Like he's doing it to get back to Fjolnir so he can kill him. It doesn't make it okay. And he's okay with it not making it okay. You can tell he's accepted that he will do whatever he has to, regardless of ethics, to get back there. And there's assuredness in that makes it very easy to root for him. Yeah. Even when he's in the middle of horrible, he doesn't do it. He's not throwing kids in fires, but he's allowing it to happen. He's allowing it. Yeah. He's watching it because he knows that it's going to further his own goals. It's a very personal, selfish tale, which is why I'm just sticking to the guns at the end and having him, go back and kill that motherfucker. Yeah. And then he dies. He's not going to make it out of there. He's fighting him in a volcano.
But and Fjolnir was a great, I know we're running long here, but Fjolnir was a great Antag in my opinion. And the way that they present him was incredible, because in the beginning they just show pretty much that he shows up and he kills Amleth's dad.
Oh yeah, he's a cunt.
And then you kind of like,
the twist with the mom was, sorry, I'm cutting in. Yeah.
And it was basically like her all along, and he was basically just trying to do basically like what they were saying towards the end is like, actually your dad was kind of a scumbag and like leading people into, starvation, and Fjolnir was the one who had the means to actually help his people, and it just makes you question. That's what I mean when I said like, man, are they going to do some stupid thing where he's like, okay, uncle, I forgive you, and then like walks away. So it was great that he was like, look, maybe my dad wasn't perfect and my mother clearly isn't perfect, but I set out to kill you, and I'm going to fucking kill you. And it was just like,
regardless of who was responsible for behind the scenes, you killed my father.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're dying.
I think that of all of his films, this one had the best pop at the end. I don't mind the ambiguous endings of The Witch and The Lighthouse, but this is of his films my favorite, and it's not even close. It's the least like subversive. Like it's very in your face. It's literally Hamlet. It's Hamlet was based on Scandinavian poem called Amleth, and this is based on Amleth. So it's just a classic tale of revenge. I'm telling you, if you're listening and you've never been into Eggers movies, I'm not going to say I agree with you. Like it's still an Eggers movie, and there's like there's like an act 2 sort of slow down a little bit. But acts 1 and 3 are so fucking incredible. You really shouldn't miss this movie. It's very good.
And I think it's just the nature of the plot that happens. Again, I know we're running along. It's the last thing I'll say, but because you start off with a bang, the opening is a lot of stuff happens. His father dies, he gets pushed away. And then even when you catch up with him as an older man, I mean, they're raiding a village and there's a lot of shit happening. And then the plot settles in and you realize he's planting himself to and that, of course, that's slow because he's not going to go in sword drawn. He's trying to play the intellectual game, win favor, become more trusted, gain access to people and things. So while I understand that there is that, it's nothing but necessary for me in order for the movie to make sense. And anyway, great movie. You should watch it. As someone who thinks The Lighthouse is beautifully shot, even if it's not my cup of tea. Like, I just don't like that movie. It's not that I think it's a bad film. It's just not for me. It's first off, anyone who shoots in black and white, I immediately think is pretentious. Well, to an extent, it's kind of true.
A little bit.
But sure, it's an artistic choice. I'm not an artiste. I'm not a director. Sure, you do you. It's for a different audience. But just the story and the ambiguousness of everything could be taken in multiple different ways, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. That's all. But I knew he's a talented filmmaker. Yeah. The Witch I did like. I liked The Witch quite a bit because it's a slow burn horror film, and Eggers is slow burn. That's like his fucking TM. It's just his tagline is slow burn.
Yeah.
And I feel like all these strengths combined in this movie to make a more cohesive story than he's told in things like The Lighthouse. Like you said, less ambiguous, but fucking gorgeous and a good story. That's it.
It's just a shame because it did dog shit at the box office.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to get a budget like that anytime soon.
Ever again. It's a great film, but you got to have somebody
critically raved, but it's commercially, it did not do well at all.
No. Turns out people don't want to go sit in the movie for that long and watch slow burn scenes. It really is like I don't have to be in a mood, but I have to mentally adjust when I know, but it's beautiful. And that's all she wrote.
That's it.
Murder She Wrote.
She wrote.
Trying to think of something clever, but I can't do it. We have to think of a title still, so we'll do that. But thumbnail still. We have the title. REM's good at 12. All right, but we're gonna wrap things up. Where can everybody find you online?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD, which is DRGLOOMMD.
Nice. What you been doing lately?
Well, I've been playing a little Neo, a little bit of Evil Dead. I got to tell you something. I'm just going to get this out. I know we're done.
Do it.
I don't think I'm feeling Neo.
No?
I don't think I'm into it.
I started it, and then I was finishing the Falcon, and so I haven't gone back to it. And we started playing Evil Dead, so it's not a bad game.
It's not. It's just I don't think it's for me. It's
like the type of Souls, like the additions to the formula are not tickling your taint.
No, it's way too you get punished for very minor mistakes too harshly.
It is very punishing.
It's a little too much for me. It's a skill issue. It's me. I'm the problem. But I don't know. Like the one night I sat down and I put like 2.5 hours into it and I did not progress one bit. I'm like, this is not how I have fun.
This is the game that they made because there are people who do level 1 runs in Souls games and never level up. They needed a challenge, so they made Neo and Neo 2. The first game was exceedingly difficult, and I did end up stuffing my way through about 75% of that game. I never finished it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to go back to it, but I just, we finished the Falcon and went right into Evil Dead, and I've had so much fun with that that I want to play that more. Yeah, that's it. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at TCN Plays. I have been streaming every night for the past few nights because of Evil Dead the game. I will not be live tonight, which you'll know because I'm not on right now. Yeah. I'm really not sure what the rest of the week looks like. It kind of depends on the rest of the boys. I know you have a lot of work stuff going on this week. But I'm down to play any night of the week. That game was a blast. Yeah, that's it. I am going to be getting back into regular just solo dolo streams too. I have some games that I want to revisit, some games that I want to play. I never finished Forbidden West. which I want to go back to because that game is gorgeous and that universe is fun to play in. But that's all I got. And it's late, and I think we're gonna fucking get this up for your ear holes.
We're gonna get it up for you.
Yeah,
we still can.
It's not hard. Not hard.
Not
I don't
yet,
have to take a Blue
be.
Chew. Thanks to this week's sponsor, Blue Chew. 20% off with the code TCN. Anyway, we're going. Thanks for being here. See you next week.
Bye.